not something that's frequently accessed, but if you wanted to, you could come back in after the verbal questions and insert this information. Regardless whether or not you access the session viewer, when your presentation is complete, you're going to do something called save the session. Saving the session basically means save the results. So if you need to save the session, you're clicking the main menu drop-down, coming down here to Session, and at the bottom of this right-hand drop-down menu, I have Save Session. Saving the session, once again, means saving the results. So we can save it to the default location, which is the Sessions folder, or as you can see through my drop-down, I can save the results of this presentation any other place that I want to. It doesn't matter where the results get saved to. We just want to make sure it's a consistent location. Any questions right now in terms of when the presentation is over, accessing the session viewer if you want to, or saving the results through Save Session? After we save results, either immediately or at a later time, we can generate reports. To generate reports, the only thing that we must do is open up the TurningPoint Anywhere application. Once it opens, we're going to click the main menu drop-down and scroll down to where it reads Tools, and the first thing on the right-hand side reads Reports. So when I click on Reports, first of all, I want you to notice on the left-hand side, it gives me the option to choose my saved session. Remember again, the word session means results. So if I save it to the default location, I'm going to see it listed below. If I save it to some other location, I have the option of loading it in through the tab in the lower left-hand corner. Here's my current session, so I'm going to keep it highlighted. And now I have what's called Available Reports in the top middle of the screen. If I click on this, it gives me my drop-down. And from the drop-down menu, I can choose the type of reports that I want to generate. Now, the first two, individual results and individual score, those are going to be very nice reports to generate if indeed I am using a participant list where I'm tracking those individual results. Although I am not using one yet. In fact, I haven't even talked about it yet, but we will get there. The third option down is Results by Question. If this is the one that I want, then I'm just going to click on it, and it automatically generates this report. Now, since I did not go ahead with the session viewer, it's not showing me what the questions actually were. It's just displaying it as question 1, 2, and 3, and showing me how my participants answered. This does generate into HTML. In the upper right-hand corner, we have the opportunity to print this if we want, and we also have the opportunity to save it either as an HTML or a CSV file. Any questions at all on generating those reports? Okay, let's kind of tie this all together with the verbal questions. After you're done asking the verbal questions, you have the option of coming down to the session viewer and adding in the questions and the answer choices. Whether or not you do this, a consistent step is going to be to save your results. So you're going to save the session. And then you're going to finally generate reports either immediately or at a later time. If you save it to the default, it's listed to the left. If you save it someplace else, you import it over to the Load Session tab, and you pick from any of these top 6 reports that we have here. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and move along to the second topic, which is using TurningPoint Anywhere in conjunction with another application. Now, before I do this, since we are talking about a different environment, I'm going to reset my session because I don't want to build on my verbal question. And now what I'd like to do is go ahead and open up a PowerPoint presentation. So let me find a good PowerPoint to go open up here. We'll open up the Psychology of Audiences. Now what you're going to notice is that when my PowerPoint opens up, it automatically also opens up TurningPoint. TurningPoint doesn't work like that, though, if you're familiar with it. If you just have a PowerPoint, that's what you want to open up. So notice once again that it is appearing over top of this. It's appearing over top of any application. So you could be running your PowerPoint presentation, and when you're ready to go ahead and pull your audience, you can go ahead and drag this on the screen or maximize it. And if there was a question on here, as always, I'm going to click the play button to open the polling. I still have the option of clicking the Charts tab so I can see the results coming in real time. And yes, I still have the option of putting in the countdown timer, and I still have the option of putting in the response or non-response grid. These are consistent things with TurningPoint Anywhere. Our participants would respond to the question. After they respond to the question, I'm going to shut down my polling. I'm going to see my results. Of course, I have them displaying full screen. If you just minimize this after the first time you pull, that's going to be the way it will always display. Keep that in mind. Okay, so I'm using this over top of a PowerPoint, so I don't need to necessarily build questions in TurningPoint. If you're familiar with that, I can just use any PowerPoint, and on those question slides where they're just PowerPoint, I can use the TurningPoint Anywhere application. Now let's talk about using TurningPoint Anywhere over a different type of application, maybe a web page. So if I log on to Internet Explorer, it's going to take me to my home page, which is MSN. Once again, we're still over top of this. So if I open up polling, I can be asking a question based on searching for stars born in October. Who knows? Participants would respond to the question. I shut down the polling. I see the results automatically. Now the whole reason I'm showing you this is because in just a moment, I'm going to generate a report with screenshots. So I can see exactly what was on the screen at my time that the polling shut down. Let's take this logically, though. When you're done with the presentation, where you use TurningPoint Anywhere in conjunction with something else, maybe a PowerPoint, maybe a web page, maybe a PDF, or whatever else it is you have going on that screen, you're now going to click on the main menu drop-down arrow. From the main menu drop-down, you still have the option of coming down here to Session in Session Viewer. And it's still listening as question 1 and 2. My software still has no clue what the questions were. It doesn't know it was being run over top of a PowerPoint. It doesn't know that the second question was over top of MSN. It doesn't know that. So I have the option of typing out the question and the answer choices and also setting a correct answer if I want to. Once again, regardless if I access the session viewer, I'm going to save my results through Save Session. Consistent step right here. Save it to the Sessions folder or any other location we want to. We just need to go through Save Session to save the results. The last step, either done immediately or at a later time, is generating the reports. Now this time, since I was running this over top of another application, I'm going to generate a results by question report with screenshots. So if I click on this, I can now see exactly what was on the screen at the time that polling shut down. So I don't necessarily even need to go through the session viewer if this was the question that I had on the slide. I can see the results right here. So it's kind of a wasted step sometimes. And if we cruise down a little bit further, of course, we can now see the MSN page. And it even eliminates the chart. So now the only thing that we're looking at is exactly what was on the screen at the time that polling shut down. And this is running it over top of another application. Are there any questions on that second environment, which is running in conjunction, or whatever you want to refer to, running it over top of another application? Okay, let's move along to our third environment in which TurningPoint Anywhere can be used in. And this is if we want to go ahead and load the questions into the software ahead of time. So if this is the case, I'm going to first of all go ahead and reset this session, which is going to go ahead now and not build on the previous questions. If I want to build something called a question list, I'm obviously not going to have any students or participants sitting in front of me, and I don't need any hardware with me. To build a question list, I'm just going to open up the software. I'm going to click my main menu drop-down, and I'm going to scroll down to where it reads question. And to the right-hand side, I want to go ahead and build a new question list. So when I click on New Question List, this is extremely intuitive from here. You can see that question 1, it just wants me to go forward, type out whatever the question is, type out the answer choices. With the tab down here at the bottom, we can add up to 10 possible answer choices. I do want to focus your attention to the right where it says Question Properties. I know this is very tough to read, but the first option I have here is Anonymous. If I were to be using a participant list where I'm tracking individual results, if I check mark Anonymous, that means that for this particular question, I'm not going to be able to see how each individual answered it. I'm only going to be able to track how the group answered it. I can also set a correct point value and an incorrect point value if I'm tracking this for assessment purposes. Down below, I have Presentation Properties. I have a box that I can check mark to display a correct answer. This is going to go ahead and display something called a Correct Answer Indicator, which will be a visual confirmation as to which answer choice was correct when polling shuts down. I can also go ahead and insert a countdown timer. And the countdown timer sets a limit. So you know that we can insert a countdown timer when polling is going on. We can also insert one ahead of time so it automatically appears when we're building a question list.